the biggest thing that I'm trying to do. YouTube, what is up? What's going on? Welcome back to another video. Today's video, we are running through my new training split. So about to head to the gym now, but thought I'd sit down and explain what my new training split is about, what the goal of it is, what each day sort of looks like. And I'll probably make a few videos around each day as well as it sort of progresses into harder days and progresses throughout the weeks. But at the moment, we just got it the other day, so I've looked at it a little bit, but I thought it'd be worth sort of running through what the goal of the split is and what each day sort of looks like. So with this one, the goal is still we're trying to bring up shoulders and arms. In my physique at the moment, a massive part of weakness is just the limbs, so my shoulders and arms. Legs go pretty well, back and chest have come up quite a lot. But we obviously need overall growth, but I think at the moment to create that sort of balanced look, we do need a lot more of the delts and arms. So it's kind of a weird sort of layout in terms of the actual split itself. Starts off with cable flies, but with the costal focus, so lower pec fibers. Then we're going to a dumbbell shoulder press, a dumbbell bench press. Then we're going to a lateral raise on the cables, so the reclined ones. And then we're heading into a machine shoulder press, and then a standing calf raise and some abs. Now we've also thrown in some abs in there, which I haven't really ever done a massive focus on abs, because when I competed last time, my abs were a bit of a weakness. They weren't sort of pushing through the skin, they weren't bulging. So that's something that we want to really focus on this time. Now, I train 5 days a week, so it's a 5-day split. And then also the reason it's changed. So I'm a big believer in following the same program for a long time to get results. I think that is the best way to train if you're someone who's trying to build muscle. But I followed the last program for around 10 weeks. I'm also someone who, at least inheritably used to get really bored of programs very quickly. Now that's something that's improved because I understand the purpose and the goal of following a program for a long time. So 8 to 10 weeks is usually the mark where I get a new program and it's time to change. But you can literally run a program up to 12 weeks or even longer. If something's working, if something is going in the right direction and you're really enjoying the split and you're still progressing. And when I say progressing, I mean it could be 1 rep a week, it could be 1 kilo, it could be the same as last week, but as long as you're still over time progressing, then there's no need not to change that. So I'll probably be running this split for at least 8 to 10 weeks, maybe even longer, who knows. As you guys know, I'm in my build phase at the moment, so obviously putting on size and whatnot is the goal. So with that, there's no reason why I can't be running this for a while. If I run this for 10 weeks and I'm already 5 weeks into my push or my build phase, then that's a 15-week sort of push and build phase with 2 splits that are very similar. Again, not much has changed, just a little bit. And I can get really good results like that, and I probably will. So Tuesday we've got a sort of a pull day. So we start off with triceps and then go into biceps. Then we're heading into some more arms and then some back to finish. So I've got close grip Smith machine bench press, preacher curl, easy bar curl, and then tricep push down, and then some T-bar row and light pull down overhand grip. And I'll put screenshots and list it down the side. Wednesday is my only leg day, so I'm only doing legs once a week, and I'll run through the volume allocations, because as we know, volume is a really important part of hypertrophy. Where you put your effort will grow is really important, and that's essentially what volume is. So on Wednesday we do seated calf raise, some hip extensions, a pendulum squat, seated leg curl, RDLs with dumbbells, and then leg extensions. So not a lot of legs, because I train legs pretty hard, as well as they don't need a lot to grow. I was doing 3 sets on everything last block, and towards the end it was really cooking me. Friday I rest on Thursday, so we do 3 days in a row, and then I rest on Thursday, and then I train Friday. So we've got lateral dumbbell raise, incline fly machine with a free weight, incline press machine, rear delt fly, upright row, and then some abs again. So as you can see, it's kind of repeating some of the body parts. So we kind of spread the volume out across the days so we can get better return on investment. Then on the last day, it's purely just some arms with a little bit of back. So we've got alternating dumbbell curl, rope overhead extensions, dual arm cable curl, cross body press down, machine supported row, and a seated cable row with an overhand grip. So as you can see, it's pretty spread out in terms of the volume. And we're training most body parts still around twice a week. In terms of what it actually looks like, in terms of the distribution of volume, So per week is usually what we use to dictate how much sets we're doing. So if you're doing, 6 sets per week, that means you're probably doing 3 on one day, 3 on another day, or maybe you do 6 straight, which I probably wouldn't recommend doing. But what that looks like here is that I'm doing 8 sets of chest, doing 11 sets of back, doing 15 sets of delts. So this is where you can see the emphasis is on the delts. Then I'm doing 10 biceps, 10 triceps. Again, you can see where the emphasis is here. And then I'm doing 4 sets of quads, 5 sets of hamstrings. So 2 sets of glutes, 4 sets of abs, and 6 sets of calves. So you might be wondering, like, why is the leg volume so low? Again, like, you don't need as much volume to grow on things when you train them really hard. So even me, I've noticed my legs have grown, but at the same time, I've only been doing maybe 6 sets of quads on the last program. So, and also we want to give ourselves room to actually recover. So if you're trying to push everything all the time at really high volumes, some people do like to train that way, but I would argue they probably don't train with a very high amount of intensity and effort, which is fine. Like, that's just how some people train. But you will probably find that your ability to recover from that will get harder the stronger that you get as well. The big muscle groups like the quads and the hamstrings, they take a lot to recover. So if I'm pushing that at the same time I'm trying to grow my arms and delts, then that's going to take away my recovery capacity to grow those other muscles that are actually a priority at the moment, which is why specialization in hypertrophy or muscle building programs can be really useful, because you're reducing your work capacity to increase your recovery capacity to go into other muscle groups, which I would say is something you probably don't need to do until you have a good base level of muscle, and then you can look at specialization blocks. But I'm doing a total of 75 sets per week. So within a week, a total amount of sets I'm doing is 75. I've done more than that, I've done less than that. It really depends on your ability to recover, how good your nutrition is, how good your sleep is, how good your stress management is. Like, without going on a tangent on volume, like, it can really come down to so many different things. And usually I always say this to at least any of the new clients I take on, it's going to take us some time to work out where that is. And sometimes I've given them not enough and they were leaving the gym like, oh, I've got so much more energy, I can do more. And that's usually a good sign that they can handle more volume. And then I've got some people saying, bro, I'm leaving the gym absolutely cooked. And sometimes we want that, but then if it's like too much repeated of that, then we probably have to bring down some of the volume. So if you're trying to work out sort of how many sets you should be doing, honestly, just go work it out. Like, start at 8 sets per week on the major body parts: chest, back, quads, hams, delts, and maybe 6 sets of biceps and triceps. And that's a great way. You can sort of just go out there and figure it out, spread it across the week so you have enough room to recover between sessions, and then you'll be able to figure it out. But let's head to the gym. Alright, so we're at the gym, about to get into it. One thing I've been trying to do as heading into starting to get into the depths of this growth phase is trying to take my time with warm-ups. I've been putting a lot of more effort into foam rolling, like all that sort of stuff. So I've been actually doing my warm-ups, which, if you're training and you train 5 days a week like myself, or you're a bodybuilder trying to get jacked, or you already are one who is jacked, you know the importance of actually recovering and trying to actually get your body ready for movement. Otherwise, you can run into a lot of issues, which is sort of what I'm starting to run into. Like, I find myself feeling a lot tighter. As someone who's an online coach, like, I sit at a desk a lot, so I'm trying to be a little bit more aware and be preventative rather than intervention to stop any sort of injuries popping up or any niggles or anything like that. So I do 2 rounds of this and then I jump into the workout. So we'll get into it.
Yeah, this is how I move. This is how I move. Hey, yeah. This is how I move. I don't never lose. I don't pick and choose. You can make the news, get the eyes and ooze. Whip it fast to the dash. I don't never cruise. I'm forever cool.
Alright, so first exercise we got is a straight bar push down. So we start off with triceps. Now, there's a few reasons why we're starting off with triceps. Number one, arms in this block is the goal. So whatever you want to train and grow the most is what you're going to train first. The reason is to put tricep push down, and the reason I got it set up like this is because it's highly loadable. So you can load the exercise a fuck ton more. You can put way more weight on it than you usually would be able to if you're just doing a normal one like this, because you can get a bit more stability from the bench. So that's sort of why I like to do it with the bench, and you can just see how I've set it up. You'll see that it's a very stable movement. You can get a lot out of it. And also just like training the triceps before the biceps. I find my elbows are a little bit better once I get into biceps. When you find yourself doing a lot more like arm volume, you'll see that the elbows and the forearms can get pretty tight. So I find triceps first is best. And yeah, you get a really good pump from this as well, just because it's a very stable movement, the way we set it up.
This is how I move, I don't never lose. I don't pick and choose. You can make the news, get the eyes and ooze. With the fast to the dash, I don't never cruise. I'm forever cool. This is how I move, I don't never lose. I don't pick and choose. You can make the news, get the eyes and ooze. With the fast to the dash, I don't never cruise. I'm forever cool. I'm moving on my toes.
So one thing you'll notice, it's a push down, not like an extension. Like there is extension of the elbow, but I'm treating it almost like it's a press. So I'm doing a push down. You'll notice that I'm not really like trying to let it go much around. Like I'm letting it come in and stay close to me. That's going to be a stronger position, so I can get a little bit more load out of that too, which is going to apply a little bit more tension to the triceps as well. First week of this block, so I'm not going to go crazy with the load. You'll see like, yeah, I'll be pushing myself, but it won't be anywhere near as close to what I'm usually doing as well. The first week of this training block, you always just want to sort of ease into it and sort of find the working weights you want. And you're going to have some sort of soreness anyway, because it's going to be new exercises, new sequencing, new order, new amounts of volume, maybe more or less. So you're going to get some sort of stimulus, neurologically at least. Anyway, so you don't need to go balls to the wall in that first week of the program.
But I'm cruising on the road. These stories that I told, there's no glory for your soul. Trying to get the pot of gold, but I do it on the low. This is how I move, I don't never lose. I don't pick and choose. You can make the news, get the eyes and ooze. Whip it fast to the dash, I don't never cruise. I'm forever cool. Now we sliding through some obstacles, flying somewhere tropical, burn a cock.
Massive focus for me in my first week of any new training block. Obviously I'm not going to go full hard because I'm still learning the movements and still going through that whole process, but the biggest thing that I'm trying to do is just making sure that the muscles or the movements actually feel good and they're targeting the muscle I'm essentially trying to train. So I'm always going into that first week of the new training block, okay, how does this movement feel? Am I feeling the targeted muscle? Is the tension going in the areas I want it to? Because if in that first week I'm not taking the time to do that, then I'm gonna get to like week 7 or 8 and I'm like, well fuck man, this movement feels shit when I load it up heavy. It feels bad on my joints. So using that first week or two just to get a good idea of how those movements feel and if they're actually working the target muscle, and whether or not there's anything technical that can be worked on to help fix that is absolutely fucking key for making progress. So always take those first week or two to just really nail the movements, and you're gonna naturally get stronger anyway, because neurologically you're gonna be learning the movement better and better each week, so it's going to get stronger by default. So always try and take your time on that first 2 weeks. Still have a level of intensity that's going to stimulate growth, but you just want to pull it back a little bit so you can make sure that you're targeting the muscles that you actually want to train.
Then we popping you, all these studies on top of you. Lightning, thunder is shocking you. Now they claim that they stopping you. The cause is not probable. They off, so they mocking you. Handcuffed and locking you. Feds looking, they clocking you. Now you feeling crazy, but you paranoid and grip your 80. Cause the cops are moving shady hand. They killing babies, trying to play me. Shoot in my direction and they almost graze me. This is how I move, I don't never lose. I don't pick and choose. You can make the news, get the eyes of ooze.
Alright, so we're moving on to close grip Smith machine press. I can really feel it, like on the way down I can feel my biceps, so I can tell there's a lot of blood in that localized area, which is good. Like that's what you want. You're going to get a really good feeling of that. It's going to feel a lot better on those joints. And longevity, and this is why programming is so important. It's like anyone can get jacked, but getting jacked while you're not injured is a skill, and this is why programming is so important, because it allows for longevity in the sport. It allows you to be able to lift heavier for longer periods of time and still make progress without having to pull back. And you know, that comes down to, you know, us doing the warm-ups in the beginning, sequencing exercises in a certain way, managing fatigue, managing load, managing volume. All those things such a play a role in your program, which is going to allow you to make more progress when those things are managed well. So really happy with how that feels. I can tell I'm really going to enjoy this day as the weeks progress. Just like the feeling of it, the pump, the blood, all of it is going to feel really good once I've progressed it over a period of time, and there's more fatigue per se, but you know, fatigue that's manageable.
This is how I move, I don't never lose, I don't pick and choose. You can make the news, get the eyes of ooze, but the fast to the dash, I don't never cruise, I'm forever cool. Fly to the Mayweather, to go always way better. Move like MacGyver with lions and tigers, shooters and sniper, apes and gorillas mixed with killers. If they try to drill us, then they better kill us, cause I'm with some good fellas. I will take your leather and break your feathers, bitch. This is how I move, I don't never lose, I don't pick and choose. You can make the news, get the eyes of ooze, but the fast to the dash, I don't never cruise, I'm forever cool. This is how I move, I don't never lose, I don't pick and choose. You can make the news, get the eyes of ooze, but the fast to the dash, I don't never cruise, I'm forever cool.
One thing I'm focusing on when I'm doing this is definitely trying to get a little bit more of that stretch in the bottom position. And it's something that I really want to practice as well now while the weight's a little bit lighter. So, because when people tend to do this exercise, they will, you know, load it up and they won't get that full range, where here, like, I really want to focus on getting that real big deep stretch in that bottom position and really strengthen that area. So then when I do load it up, I'm still accessing that range. So it's always good to practice those habits now with this movement. I haven't done this for a very long time, but I can say I'm very much going to enjoy it. I don't usually enjoy training arms, but I can see myself really enjoying this day just because the way it's ordered is really good. It feels good. A few different movements I haven't done in a while or before, so it's going to be really enjoyable in that aspect of things. Okay, moving on to T-bar row. Only 2 sets of the closed grip and the preacher curl, mainly because like I'm doing so much arms across the week. You don't need to be doing like so much arms in a day, because after a certain point you're getting a diminishing return and you're just creating more fatigue with less stimulus. In my opinion, if you want to do higher volumes of certain body parts, it's best to spread them out across the week and do a higher amount of frequency with less amount of sets, so then when you come into these days you're a lot more fresh. Same thing, we've got T-bar row now, so two back exercises. Why back at the end of the workout? Because it's not a priority at the moment, but we still obviously need to train it. I've done a lot of work to bring up my back, but now my arms are falling behind and my back and my chest have grown a lot. So we still need some stimulus there, but it's not going to be as much of a priority. And what you do last is going to get the least amount of stimulus, but it's still going to be some, right? So we've got back in here, 3 sets of this, 3 sets of pull downs. I'm going to go 3 plates for the first set. In my head, I'm saying, oh, I'm going light, but we'll see.
I got some zombies just popping mollies inside the party and sleeping lobbies. There is no hobby, no saying sorry. Some drug abusers, some call them losers, so their confusion is pollution and prostitution. The Constitution, it fails them, there's no solution. Nobody bails them, what's the conclusion? When this is a life you're choosing, no sleeping snoozing. They steady cruising to a life that's useless. I don't like excuses. Tell me who provides the movement. Tell me who provides the movement, huh? This is how I move, I don't never lose, I don't pick and choose. You can make the news, get the eyes of ooze, but the fast to the dash, I don't never cruise.
Alright, so moving on to the last exercise, being a neutral grip lat pull down, getting a little bit more lats in the works there. You're not going to get a lot of lats for that T-bar row, but I really enjoy this workout. Like, I think this is going to be a really fun day for this program. I plan on videoing the other days as well and just taking through, but I just figured for the intro week of the program, like, it'd be worth just talking through like my mindset around how I approach like programs and first weeks of programs and why programs are set out a certain way. I truly believe, and this might be an unpopular opinion or a hot take or whatever, but I think most people can get fucking 99% better results if they just had a proper program and learn how to train better. Like, if you can do those 2 things really fucking well, there is no reason why you can't get results. Yes, there's nutrition and diets and calories and macros and all those things, but I truly believe that if people just learn how to fucking train better, they would get 100 times better results. Like, it's unbelievable how much just a good program and good training intensity and technique can do for your physique if you lock those things in properly. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. We've got 3 sets here. So gonna get into it and try and not absolutely cook myself. So as I sort of mentioned throughout this video, mindset throughout this program, at least in the first week, is to cruise back. But look, I can see myself running this program for a while, just because, you know, it seems really fun. I think, you know, the areas that I need to bring up need time for me to actually grow them. So I'm not opposed to really running this program for 12 weeks. And in regards to programming, obviously I spoke about throughout the video, just like, you know, the importance of it, but I also think how long a program should go is completely dependent on the person. Like, if you're constantly changing your program every 4 weeks, even 6 weeks, like, you're probably not getting the best out of it. Like, as we've spoken about, those first 2 weeks, you're really just working things out. You're really just picking the right load, getting the feel for the movement, making sure your technique's all good, and then from there you start progressing it. And a common thing that always pops up when I'm coaching my clients is, you know, Jackson, I didn't progress this week. Did I make progress or anything like that? 100%. Like, your body doesn't know the difference between 3 or 5 kilos, whether it's on a barbell curl or a tricep extension or a chest press. It just reacts to a stimulus. And when you hear this word, it's a fancy word thrown around in the fitness industry, but a stimulus is essentially just like the reaction that occurs when we train hard and when we apply tension or, you know, some sort of opposing sort of force onto a muscle. When there's tension on a muscle and it gets stimulated by the amount of tension that you put through it by training close to failure, that's what's going to essentially recruit muscle growth and tell your body like, hey, we need to build more muscle here. So as long as you are progressing the stimulus and you are still training hard with high amounts of effort, just because you didn't progressively overload or you didn't add 3 kilos or 1 kilo or add reps to your weights and your movements, like, that's still gonna progress. Your chest is still gonna get bigger. Your muscles are still gonna grow. Like, you know, I'm never gonna lateral raise 40 kilo dumbbells, and I don't know anyone that can, because if we were to add 5 kilos a week for the next 52 weeks, we would all be able to squat 1,000 kilos. And it just doesn't work like that. Take it with a grain of salt when you look at things like progressive overload and trying to add weight each week. So, you know, when people get stuck in that, you know, that sticking point of the program, just stick through it, you know, keep pushing, keep showing up with high amounts of effort, because that's the point where you're going to get the most amount of growth. That's where you're going to see the most amount of return on investment on the program, and you're going to get those last little bit of gains that you can see. In my opinion, like, really need to change your program at all. Like, unless movements really stagnate, unless you start feeling pain in certain areas or you start finding niggles and stuff pop up, like, you don't really need to change the movement. Or if you're bored. But again, like, if you're bored, then choose a different fucking sport, man. Like, bodybuilding is a very repetitive and reoccurring type of sport where you literally do 5 of the same things over and over again. You eat the same shit, whether it's more or less. You train with the same program, maybe more or less volume, a few different movements. And let's face it, in your program, you're always going to have a push. You're always going to have a pull, vertical and horizontal. You're always going to have some sort of raise. You're always going to have a row. Like, there's always the same movements. They just look different, whether they're on a machine or a dumbbell. And sure, we can choose better tools for the job, but the crux of it is you're always doing the same movements. You're always doing some sort of squat, some sort of hinge, whether it's with a deadlift or a barbell RDL or a dumbbell RDL. Like, it's still a fucking hinge. So, you know, I think it's really worth noting that you're choosing a sport where you're going to have to get used to doing the same thing over and over again for the results that you want. If you want something that's a lot more, you know, ever changing, go do jiu-jitsu or something, because every time you show up, you're learning something new, and there's always something new to learn. Where with bodybuilding, once you sort of get the basics down, it's just rinse and repeat week to week. And I say this to my clients: if you want to get results, start, you know, getting really good at doing the simple shit, and just continuing to progress that, you know. And the way that I've sort of learned in my journey to do that is becoming extremely process focused. So sure, the outcome is to, win a show or build this physique that I'm extremely proud of and, build my arms or get leaner. But how can I make my life or make this journey very process focused and get wins in the week? So instead of worrying about whether or not I'm getting the result or my arms are growing, I look at, did I push my training session as best as I could? Did I do all the things right with my nutrition? Did I prep my meals correctly? Did I hit my macros? Did I get enough sleep this week? Did I foam roll enough this week? Did I do my warm-ups properly? And then you can like gamify it. And when you gamify it, it becomes like this thing where you're just like, oh, like each week I'm trying to beat myself and I'm trying to improve on something, whether it's getting in another 30 minutes of sleep, getting a really good deep sleep, preparing your meals and, only having one free meal per week, or not having a free meal that week because you wanted to really be on top of your diet because you're trying to lose body fat, or, when you can gamify things like this, you become a lot more process focused, and it makes the journey a lot more enjoyable because you're collecting all these wins and you're stacking all these wins along the way. And that way you can really just overall get that outcome almost even quicker. Like I always say to people, it's like if you become process focused, the outcome's going to come quicker, because it's like water. The more you try and hold on to it and grasp for it, the more it's going to slip through your fingers. Where if you like really just take a nice little cup and hold your hands softly and take your time with it, you're going to be able to hold that water. And it's the same with the physique. If you just take your time with it, become process focused, you're going to get closer to that goal sooner than you think. That's enough rambling from me though. I'm going to wrap up that video there. Guys, I fucking love making these videos, so I would really appreciate if you subscribe to the channel, support me in any way you can, so that I can keep making videos like this. Leave a comment if you've got any questions around programming, if you've got any questions around that sort of stuff, or what more you'd like to see around my own training. And I would love to, make videos for that for you guys. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much.